There we go. We're live. Just picking out some music, guys. And we'll be ready to go. Today we're going to draw figures in perspective from imagination. It's been a little while, so it might be a little challenging. We're not going to use any reference today. Hopefully this goes well. Is there seriously only one person that has good music? Figures in perspective. Hello, everyone. So yeah, if you didn't hear me, I said we're doing figures in perspective from imagination today. We're going to be using Ichigo as a base, so it'll be male figures. And it's been a hot minute since we've done this, but I like to try doing drawings before I go and find reference to fix them. Not necessarily fix them, but to make better poses if the ones that I made aren't good. But it has been a little while. Hey, awesome videos inspire me to get going. Thank you, Art of Sane. I really like to hear that. That's awesome. So I need half a second to think of what this first pose will be. I usually try to get specific with my ideas to help me come up with poses, and this is kind of like the idea in the project I came up with is like bedtime routine. So any poses that can sort of happen during bedtime. Maybe we'll go with something simple first that's more straight on, that's like a pose. Oop. There. Just so I can get into it a little bit. Yeah. Try not to use my undo hotkey. So you might see me drawing and erasing a lot. I'm trying to get used to being deliberate with my mark making instead of just coming in here and being all scribbly, which I feel like I'm used to doing. I want to be deliberate. Right. Ingaichi. Any figure drawing resources you would recommend? I've been in a loop of just drawing portraits, but I don't think I'm getting better. Yeah, that is, well, there's two things to that statement is you don't want to beat your head over the same wall constantly. Um, I did that, and you could argue I'm still doing that because I'm still doing portraits, but like I spent so long just drawing the head, um, and I am finally now getting better at it, but like I could have gotten much better at it by studying other things because you learn things that carry over, as you're doing stuff. So you definitely want to study other things. So I know that pain, Gengaichi. As far as figure drawing resources, um, if you're just trying to do some like regular gesture practice, I know there's sites for, you know, it's too much. Actually, this hip is up, so we're gonna have to put it down here. There are like sites where you can, it cycles to the figure after, it's like doing a figure drawing session. You set it for like 30 seconds or a minute, and you can do it that way. I personally like to gather my own reference. Um, so I find like photographers and things like that. Um, Photographers that I like that do really good job with posing. Um, I think it's kind of important to sort of gather your own library of resources. Otherwise, you're going to get very samey, similar stuff as everybody because you're going to study the exact same poses. um, and then, of course, when you are studying this stuff, you should be also drawing from imagination too, because that's how you remember it. If all you do is just study the figure, which is what I did originally, and you don't study without the reference, you're gonna run into a problem of not being able to come up with anything on your own. I think I've disconnected this leg a little. Oh, it's gonna hurt, but I need to erase the whole leg. Oh, lasso tools today. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, starting to get somewhere. This music is very relaxing. Yeah, so Gingaichi. I I got a lot of photos from Weibo. It's like a I think it's like the Chinese version of Facebook or something. You probably find a lot of photographers on like Twitter or something. I imagine find a lot of people there. I don't have any specific resource for figure drawing, I would say. I just hunt it down myself, and then, like I said, I'm trying not to be overly reliant on it. So I use, anatomy books, and when I want to find particular poses, sometimes I will uh, I will search for those specific poses. Like I was saying when I was drawing these, they're kind of bedtime routine poses, so I'll specifically hunt those down or look through my reference and see if it can sort of be what's the word can be adopted into some kind of like bedtime pose if I can change it slightly. At this point, I've just amassed so many photos. It's hard to remember where they all come from. I wish I could give you a better answer. One wasn't bad. Okay, figure number one done. Less scary. Thanks for the resources. I think my problem is that I don't know when to start practicing the next step. Practice gesture in the past, but I didn't know when to move on to mannequins. Oh, okay. Um, I mean, it does sort of feel like you have to. I'm guessing from gesture, you're doing stuff like this, where it's like, this is what I used to do. I think this was Vilpu, where he would just draw like a circle, and then that. You draw the you draw the legs. You just kind of maybe the arms, and that's gesture, right? Um, and then you're talking about moving on to mannequins, which is the next sort of step. If you take it step by step like that, is like actually drawing the shapes. So a little magic carpet shape for the body, maybe little forms for the legs here, same with the arms, things like that. I definitely don't think you need to stay in gesture really at all. It's more of like, it helps you get the flow and learning how to use your pencil to make those nice big sweeping marks, and so you don't forget them when you come to here, right? So those flowing marks still happen. I wouldn't stay in this gestury phase for too long, because you're not going to get too much out of it. You do have to move, not exactly to this, but to the mannequin form. And then if you just watch me build that figure now that I sort of go from mannequin to just straight shapes and anatomy kind of thing. Like I don't do I used to study what my teacher called the magic carpet, and it was to study squash and stretch. And this was just like the upper body of the figure. So oh god, that head's too small. That's too small too, Jesus. Help. I don't know proportion. Okay, let's try this one last time. There we go, that's not terrible. And then this is when I say you go on to like kind of making your forms inside of that. So that's like a third step. I stayed for a while in this sort of magic carpet era, whereas learning squash and stretch, and learning how to twist things as well, right? This was very helpful, more helpful I think than the gesture part. The gesture is really, it feels like a more quick phase where you're just trying to get used to looking for and making those long lines. I suppose I can leave these up. And then this shape phase, I would call it, is sort of that next step to that will give you a lot more, because you're gonna be paying attention to a lot more now. It's the twists and curves and angles of the shoulders. There's a lot more to learn. With the gesture, it's really just the gesture. Okay. Persona. I'm trying to learn how to draw figures for imagination. The process is so confusing and frustrating. It is confusing and frustrating. Let me come up with my next pose, and I will tell you how you can do that in a less confusing and frustrating way. So we did kind of a simple straight on pose. Let's turn the camera up a little bit. And we're gonna do kind of a seated pose, I think. Can't promise I'll be successful with every one of these, but you know. Wait. When you deal with poses, you know, from above, you have to realize there's going to be a lot of overlap, so you can't just connect things at the exact spot, which is what I was just about to do, because it's no longer this, it's now these two shapes are overlapping, so it's going to come around like that. That makes sense. So I had to make sure I changed that a little bit. Okay, so your persona, you're trying to draw figures for imagination. Um, so the problem when you draw for imagination, especially at the very beginning, which is what I'm, getting used to now as well, is that you have nothing in your visual library. So when you sit down to draw, uh, it feels like you have zero ideas, which is partially true. But you've seen people, you know, take poses and um, you're not oblivious to the human body. You've seen people take different poses. You have done them yourself, so you should be able to come up with something theoretically. And part of the reason that you think that you can't come up with anything is because you have, my teacher said, told me that it's not because I couldn't come up with any ideas, it's that I had too many. And when you have too many ideas, it feels like you have none, because you have every idea screaming at you that it just drowns out in a bunch of noise. This is gonna be tougher than I thought to come from above. So you need to reduce the scope of everything to come up with ideas that are more tangible. So if you're trying to come up with any pose ever, right, trying to draw figures from imagination, you're not going to come up with anything. But if you decide to limit that scope and say, I want poses where somebody is sword fighting, that limits the ideas that you can come up with, right? Right now I'm doing like a bedtime routine, and I could argue that I could squish that scope a little bit more, and I'm doing it a little bit in my head. But I could say, like, poses where I'm relaxing in bed, and that's not that there's very few poses, there's probably a million combinations you could come up with still, but it limits it enough for you to come up with things now. Now you know that you're going to have a lot of poses where you're going to be lying down. And so it makes it easier to come up with. But the second problem that arises when you do that is that if you've never drawn any of those poses before, you still probably will have trouble trying to come up with them, right? Like you've never drawn somebody lying down, like leaning up against their pillow or something. So that's where the second problem comes in. So what I've been doing, my advice to you, persona, would be to try the poses for yourself, which is what I'm doing now. Today, it's been a while since I've studied figures in perspective for imagination, because I've been working on those portraits. And I'm still not very good at it. But I'm gonna try it first. I'm gonna see how far I can go, what I can do, what I can come up with. This is me pulling the information that I sort of already have in my visual library, but also there's a practice to drawing it out. There's a practice to drawing from imagination. So you have to let yourself sit in that weird, how did you put it, confusing and frustrating sort of silence, because nothing's coming to you, and it gets more and more frustrating. I'm on stream, so it can feel a little embarrassing too, but it feels like a deafening silence. You're trying to come up with your own ideas, right? And nothing's coming to you. But you have to give yourself that opportunity to try. And then that's when the next day, you study those specific poses um, that you were trying to kind of nail the first day, right? You find reference for the sword fighting poses that you were trying to come up with, and you study from those. And then the day after, you take that reference away and you try to see if you can nail it without the reference now, and maybe even come up with variations that you didn't study from, right? So it's a balance of, I don't know what that would even look like. How did I have it before? Sorry, trying to figure what this might look like. I might have squished the ribs and the bottom torso together. It's okay. Yeah, so it's this constant balance of allowing yourself to sort of sit in that discomfort to come up with poses, and then trying to come up with stuff, which you'll come up with something, even if it's not very good, but they will get better over time. And I'm noticing that too. Like, this may not be the best structure or anything, but I am coming up with stuff right now. And I'm even chatting on stream. Right? And before, I couldn't do this at all. I had zip coming out of my head, just nothing. And you start to get a feel for proportions and how the anatomy might look. And the thing is, you don't even have to get it 100% right. As long as it looks right and it looks good and it's believable. You don't have to be a freaking anatomy expert. Just has to look right. My teacher taught me a lot about that too. It was the movie, like, it was a movie Armageddon or something. It was that asteroid or something that was coming towards Earth, and he said his friend was like, that's not an asteroid, that's a meteor, because he was like a geologist or something like that. But the thing is, it doesn't matter to the viewer, right? Because they don't know the difference. Only somebody who's like an expert in geology is going to know the difference. Only somebody who's an expert in anatomy is going to know, you added an extra muscle. If it looks right to most people, you did your job. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, I just realized that I should have finished the hands here. We're not going to leave the hands just sitting. We're also going to draw tiny little faces, because that's really good practice too. Drawing faces in different sizes. Oh yeah, Persona, if you're still there, it is hard to draw stuff from your imagination. And it's, for me right now, it's a work in progress, but it is very possible. It's just a Slower, but more methodical process that you just have to get used to it. And once you start actually remembering poses and you get some under your belt, that's when it starts like it hasn't really done it for me yet, but I imagine that's where things really start to take off, right? Because then you're just building a little bit more at a time. If you've ever seen uh, Archelli or Night Zhang draw on Twitch, she pretty much does everything from imagination. She's been practicing for a long, long time, but she's incredibly good at pose design because she has just practiced doing it from imagination for the longest time. Uh, getting getting somewhere like that is definitely my goal. I'm gonna draw on these hands real quick. Cause well, this one's hidden, so I'll just do a little wrist action there. Maybe a little thumb, but this one needs to be drawn. Not bad. Thank you, Tabitha. I'm working on them. They're not the greatest things. I like the first one, but I feel like that was an easier one for me. I like to do something a little bit more challenging. Oof. These tiny heads, man, they're hard as heck. At least I feel like they are. Should probably add hair too, but you know, let's do something simple. These are technically supposed to be Ichigo. Maybe I should really be doing that. Do those on the next one, I guess. New to your channel, I haven't watched all your videos. What style are you drawn to for? Oh, well, welcome, Tabitha. I am drawn to a stylized anime look. Um, the best thing I can compare it to right now, actually, is the new Street Fighter game, Street Fighter 6. Um, Everything has that like anime polish, but it's has realism. But it can also it's stylized enough where it has a bit of little bit of like cartooniness. Not cartoons in the Western sense, but Eastern, like anime. Um, there's it's not so realistic that it is stiff in a sense. It can be more playful because it has more of a simplistic style. Which is more difficult, but I enjoy it the most. Which software are you using, bro? This is Paint Tool Sai. I've been enjoying it a lot. Realizing that this torso is a little too long, but I do not want to fix it. I'll break my rule and just drop it up a little. I don't want to redraw the entire leg section. All right. Next pose. Nice, lots of wiggle room, perfect combo. I hope so. I think it's a good combo. Alright, we did one kind of from above, so let's go more from below. Harry Singh, draw with mouse, would love to see that. Oh my god, no way. Drawing with a mouse would be a nightmare. No, thank you. We're gonna do a pose that's from below a little bit. Hey man, how you doing? Hi Keel. How are you? I'm doing great. Just doing some figures. Stop using the undo button. You know how hard it is to make yourself stop using the undo button? Especially those ones like ingrained in your process. My fingers just twitch to there whenever I make a mistake. And I need my fingers here. Although I would move them, but I need them to switch back between the eraser and the brush. gonna do. I want him to be like reading like this. What's your least favorite stereotype artist question you get asked? My least favorite? I don't think I've been around long enough to have a least favorite where like I'm annoyed by the question. um, you know, I'm happy to sort of give any kind of answer at the moment. Put it down more. And is what inspires you? Just kind of like everything. No, that question wouldn't bother me. I am inspired by a lot of different things. Um, I made a list actually because it's like the things that inspire you are kind of like your go-tos for projects. Like right now, I'm doing Bleach. Um, Someone who's been showing up a lot in my live streams yesterday gave me a manga the other day, and that started inspiring me because it was so gorgeous. Called, I think, Witch Hat Atelier. Yes, Witch Hat Atelier, and it is so good, so gorgeous. I was shocked, honestly. Would it be okay to tell you things you notice in your figures, like little spots that possibly you want to look at it later when you look for fitting references? Yeah, I try to avoid this sort of unsolicited critique because um, first it could sort of be problematic in the future if I get a bunch of people telling me what's wrong with my drawings. Uh, and I do want to try to spot it for myself. If I had a teacher, I would let them help me. I'm not crazy, but I just don't think it's smart to be doing a bunch of unsolicited critiques. It probably screw me up more than help me. Hi, Zevne. Unfortunately. If you want to tell me one thing, Blue, I will allow it. I'm okay with it. But typically, no, I won't. I'm not gonna let people critique my work on stream or anything. I feel like I'm really weak with legs. It's like a huge problem. Okay. Trust me, as artists, we know what we've done wrong. uh, no, that's actually not true. As artists, we're pretty. We are blind to our own work, um, which makes it difficult. That's why having a teacher is so. Well, there's really just no replacement for having a good teacher. Because it will help you improve like 1,000 times faster than you would on your own, because they're immediately going to be able to like, oh, this is the way you could improve this. Not necessarily that you're wrong at something, but just that, oh, I can show you how to improve this really quickly in ways that you just won't understand, and that automatically like gives you a boost, whereas you either might not see it or might not think of that thing, which more than likely you're not going to think of how to fix it because you don't know. When you don't know what you don't know. Sounds confusing, but thumb's on the wrong side, isn't it? Yep. Jesus. Oh, just noticed you're working on Paint Tool Sai, random fact. Yeah, I've been enjoying Paint Tool Sai. It's been, let's see, Pinky side. It's been a blast using it so far. Question is gonna come up about whether I can blend with it properly or not. So we'll see. God, okay, we need to just redo this hand because I screwed up. Okay, it's understandable. That's why I asked. It actually all looked great so far. I was only thinking that you'd probably see a bit more of the arm going back on the top left figure. Yeah, you're probably right. I was trying to avoid like a weird tangent. I could probably just scoot the hand back, to be honest, but yeah, no, I know. There's just a lot of problems with this one. The rib cage and the way that it comes down is screwing with me too. Yeah. That's part of the problem with the unsolicited critiques too. Like sometimes I know it's wrong, but I don't know how to fix it. And I could sit here and like redraw it 1,000 times. But I'd rather move on and then try to understand how to solve it another time. Sometimes, you know, I believe I can solve it, but there are times where you have to sort of be a good judge of where your strengths are. Not be always down on yourself like, oh, I can't ever fix any of this. You know, I spent an extra like 4 hours on a painting to redo it because I knew I could do it better. Um, so I have enough of like that mindset where I can fix it. Um, but I need to have some awareness so I'm not also wasting my time. Oh boy. Uh, and I'm a lot worse at drawing hands, so which any tips to start to draw figures? I'm kind of new and they look awful. My figures looked terrible in the beginning. That is okay. Um, nobody's nobody's figures look good in the beginning. That's all right. It takes time to get good at this. Tips for figures in the beginning. Practicing gesture in the beginning is very helpful. We were just talking about that earlier in the session, but um, you want to try to simplify things as you start to learn the figure. If you saw one of my videos. Jen, are you okay? My dog, sorry. Uh, if you saw my video about how I made studying drawing easier, you want to try to simplify the figure so to study it as much as you can. So if you're very new to figures, um, you know, focusing only on gesture where you do those drawings where it's like a head. I think this is like the Vilpoo method, but you take the gesture of the shoulders, the hips, and maybe you know, the legs. Jesus. And that's all you do. Oh, I think he actually does the arms and stuff as well. Like, like that. I wouldn't not stay here, but it does help you get like those big sweeping gestures. So like this. Um, so you know how to construct that figure. That would be the simple, right? And when you do enough of those, then you feel confident, or at least slightly more confident. Then you can start moving into shape, which is when you do, which I did a ton of these because you start learning a lot more stuff, is the magic carpet, as they call it. Because now you've got squash and stretch, where you have this along side. And you can come up with a lot of different poses, and you can also come up with oops, twists and turns. And then you start building, you know, once you got a little bit more comfortable with that, that's when you start building your shapes inside of there. Like that. And now it starts to become a little bit more 3D of a drawing. So you're moving like sort of this to this flat paper. Well, here's the first one. There's gesture. Earthquake detected. Drop, cover, hold on, protect yourself. Okay. If there's an earthquake, I might have to duck under my desk. But yeah, so you have gesture to flat shapes to 3D. Of course, you know, after that, you would start lighting, and all that jazz. That gives you more 3D stuff. So let me run all the way back there. Okay. So that's what I would suggest, kind of moving from gesture towards that 3D state, RC. I surrender on Psy because crashed like a ton of times, but I love the brushes. It hasn't crashed for me yet. I've heard that a couple times actually, so that's interesting. I don't know if I'm lucky or people are doing funky things inside. I haven't had a problem just yet. Did we lose our music? Hang on, let me turn it back on. Thanks. Uh, Sketch by Stay. Any chance you'd be willing to show us the Japanese books you have in your videos? I think they were anatomy, maybe? Oh, sure. I pulled it out yesterday, actually. So, this is the book. This is why I couldn't really share. Let me make sure this is on screen. Couldn't really share the title because I don't know what it is. I have the ISBN number and I can help you search for it. But you can find it at Kinokuniya. It's a bookstore. If you have one near you. You can also order it online, I think. It's a really good book. I think it's got a lot of detailed anatomy in there and everything. Let me see what I'm showing you. There we go. It's a nice book. But yeah, Sketch by Stay. I can write down the ISBN number if you really wanted to try it. During my break. so much. I really appreciate it. Let me write it down for you right now. Hopefully it doesn't flag it. 9784. Oh wait. 9784 6 522 745. You search that. Let's double check that that is what it finds. Yep, there you go. Bake a cookie just said please. Okay. I don't know what to do. Zebna, I've been low on motivation to draw, so I'm doing some studies of figures and making it funny using the same study on my OC. Makes me feel I'm not so stuck. But the new League art appeared. I want to draw a lot of that. What? Stay safe. Yeah, I didn't feel an earthquake, so I don't know what the heck that was. Yeah, low on motivation can be sucky. Again, the stuff that I talk about making it into a habit, you know, you can't rely on motivation to get you through this stuff. It's just, it's not a reliable source. You have limited motivation. To get yourself in the right set of habits. It was perfect drawing, but it's something. I feel like I wanted to do a more exaggerated upward perspective like this. I even screwed up on the box. To almost be like that. Maybe that's why. I need to make it more exaggerated lines. Instead, I kind of did, it's kind of like that. My horizon line was kind of down by his legs. And then it started to go up a little bit, like that. I wanted this, and I got that. Oop. Let's try to do something more towards here this time. Sketch by Stay. Do you make a living from your art? If you don't mind me asking, I only recently found your channel. I do not yet. Right now I work full-time as a graphic designer, which is like, it was kind of like I transitioned into it in sort of a lucky way. I kind of just found it, and you know, you've watched my video, like you said, so I've had trouble, you know, motivating myself for years, and I got to a point where I was decent but not good enough, you know, to be hired for anything, so I couldn't really apply to any jobs. So I've just been doing graphic design because of the most recent 2 videos, I was able to turn on uh, ads, so I can make the ad revenue now, which is great. Um, but it's like it's crazy because YouTube still puts ads in front of your videos, but until you can turn that on, um, you don't get anything. But I did finally turn it on, and I'm starting to make some money now, and it's so cool to make your first, dollar off of YouTube or whatever. Um, but it isn't, it isn't enough. Uh, I still need to work my day job. If I was pumping out more videos and stuff, and that's assuming every single one of them is like a hit success with like 200K views, like maybe that would be a different story. But producing videos, especially when I'm editing them, uh, and now with the change that I made to them, there's so much more B-roll and editing. It just takes a long time. So I feel like I can only get maybe 2 max a month. Um, I can give you an idea because I'm new to all of this. I just started figuring this stuff out. But you have a different rate of like how much money you get per like video and what your channel is. So like finance channels, for instance, apparently make a lot of money because uh, they can get better ads or something. I don't really understand it. Um, but art or education channels make less per view because the ads they're not able to run the same kind of ads or as many ads, I think. Um, so I was able to turn it on maybe halfway through, and I've made like $150 through ads, which is incredible to me. When it was just like 20 bucks, I was jumping up and down my wife because it was so cool. And now it ballooned to 150, and that's amazing. But again, it doesn't support me. I can do a lot more of this if I made like full-time money. Even like 30,000 a year would be enough to skate by. But um, if you do the math, $100, $150 a video, and that's assume I put it on when I first launched the video, and it was $200 per video. I could do max 2 a month, but more realistically 1 a month. So you have 12 months times $200, $2,400. That's a far cry away from, a living wage. Even if it's few bucks, I think it's amazing because it's for your work and art and your improvement. Congrats. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still super psyched about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. It's so cool um, to finally feel like it's the things that you're doing are successful. But I have other things that I am doing. Otherwise, like I'm trying to study art and become a good artist, so it's not all about the videos. It's nice to have that supplemental income. What I'm gonna use it for actually is a lot of people signed up for my email list, and I haven't been able to run it currently. It says it does it every Tuesday, but I haven't been able to run my email list for a while because I didn't have money to send emails. After you hit a certain amount of subscribers, it's like 1,500 or something, or a certain amount of people on your email list, you have to pay money on these platforms to send emails. And it was like 50 bucks a month. And my money's so tight right now. I was just like, I can't do it. but I can pour it back in from YouTube. I can't get the money out of YouTube yet because they send you like a code or something through the mail when it's your first time to verify your identity. And it can take up to 3 weeks, so I'm waiting patiently until that piece of mail comes. Whoa! Zev, you did not have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. You're ridiculous. You haven't even been on here before. What's the matter with you? You don't have to do that. I feel the heat of like, you know when you get embarrassed and you feel heat in your chest? I seriously appreciate you. That's... Oh, God. I might take a screenshot with my iPad because I'm... That's super sweet of you. I feel like I don't deserve that, but I will make sure that I do. I'll keep pushing and making things better. One of the things I do have access to now is memberships, but typically with memberships, I guess people make like custom emotes and everything like that. So I want to make those and then set that up, kind of like Twitch does their subscriber thing. That would be really fun. You are so sweet, Seth. Thank you so much. My wife is going to be flabbergasted when I tell her what just happened. No, I'm not streaming from my iPad scaling. I'm using my iPad to read the chat because my whole screen is the art. And I need a way to communicate with you all, so I don't have a second monitor, and my iPad's kind of right here off to my side, so I could stream on my iPad using like Procreate or something. Okay, I need to stop talking for a second, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to come up with another post. Give me 1 sec. All right, we want to do something like this from below. Do something right there. All right, I have something. Let's see how this works. You know, I just did a head from that position, so let's swap. Go this way. Seriously, that's gonna make my days. I'm like calling my parents and my sister. I'm gonna tell everybody I know. Remember my first sub on Twitch, I was almost crying on happiness. Really, really grateful, so I get the feeling. It's just amazing people want to support you. It's my honor. Ooh, Jan joined. Whoa, what the fuck? Jan, you guys need to stop it. Guys, come on. If it's your goal to make me cry today, it might work. Y'all are too friggin' kind. Oh. Jan, you better be fucking rich, cause Bro, I cannot take that much money from somebody. Oh my god. Y'all are making me sweat. Shouldn't have worn a long sleeve shirt. Oh, I literally. Oh my god. Hey, I don't know. I don't know what knock is. What currency is that? Can I put in little hearts or something? There we go. Something like that. Jan, I seriously appreciate that, buddy. That is nuts. Your latest video is great. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Being a little messier with this because I kind of need to explore where these lines are gonna go. Not, I'm not really sure yet. This is a little bit better in terms of perspective. Damn, why is it so hard to do? Perspective from above, I swear. Bro, I appreciate anything. It's gotta be a lot of money in this currency. What is NOK? Where is that from? Norwegian. Norway. You're from Norway? That's awesome. I don't know if you heard, I spent time in Sweden. I didn't get a chance to go to Norway, but that's cool as hell. Thank you very much, both of you, Jan and Zev. Thank you, Maros. Scaling, sorry, I think I missed your question. I'm just getting into art. I'm curious where you would start. Physical paper, iPad. Scaling, bro. I didn't even answer your question yet. Thank you. I don't really drink coffee. I'm pretty boring. I drink water and but thanks. Uh you don't need to start. Thank you, Jason. Uh you don't need to start with anything in particular. Um I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who tell you to start with paper and be all traditional and everything like that. Um, Scaling, but it's absolutely not necessary. Your skills transfer. It's not the one thing that you might miss out on if you don't have like a screen tablet, which I'm not. I don't even use one. I use this. Um, every mark that you make, I already have an iPad, but I don't have any art material. So do you have Procreate? Um, I'm assuming you're using Procreate or something like that. But yeah, you don't need to start anywhere. The skills transfer. It's just when you use a pen tablet like this, like when you make a tiny mark, it shows up like on the screen on the tablet. I'm making a mark like this big, but on the screen it's showing up like maybe that's a little overly exaggerated, but it's probably like that big, maybe like that on the screen. So this is what I'm drawing here, and this is what shows up on screen. So I like when I was drawing on a wooden board, like a big 18 by 24, I'd make these big sweeping marks. So now I'm doing them like this, and they're showing up like that, right? And on the board, I'd use my whole arm, throw it all into it, but you're not really doing that. So you miss out a little on that, but it's fine. If your goal is to be a digital artist, then you like not something you need to be worried about at all. Just saw your news video this morning. Subscribe. Thank you, Jason. I want that skill, not coffee. I need coffee or my veins to start my day. I've anything that requires like acquired taste, I've never gotten used to. I don't like drinking or coffee. I'll drink tea, or like fresh juices or something. I eat and drink pretty healthy. So I eat like plant-based and try to live a non-toxic life as much as possible. Not that coffee is actually good for you in many ways. There are health benefits to drinking coffee actually, so not yet, but I can get it. Yeah, you should definitely get Procreate. They've been a really reputable company so far for the art community. And they're about to come out with some new animation thing they just announced. I don't know if you like animation, but I definitely want to get more used to Procreate. I'm jumping around to every other program here, so I'm trying to get used to one. And then I'll probably jump into Procreate. It's really nice for when you're on the go. You need to use your iPad or some kind of iPad device. Mount Pepper, can you draw a tree frog? I'm sorry to say I don't know how to draw frogs. Never had to draw one. I'm sure I could if I had the right reference in front of me. Oh, his face is actually turning out quite good. Hey, look at that. See, sometimes drawing from imagination gets some good results. It's gonna go down, so maybe there. Drawing on iPad is really fun. The brushes and texture on Procreate are amazing. Yeah. The one thing I would be careful of when you do jump to the iPad scaling is um, you have to watch for the brushes that have what is it called? It's like auto correction. So when you're making your lines, um, it will like if you make a jaggedy ass line, it'll smooth it out, right? So you actually don't know how well you're drawing because it's fixing all of your lines. And I would turn that shit off immediately because yes, your lines are gonna be worse at first, at least. But if you keep that on, you're gonna screw yourself over. Especially if you try to draw on anything else. Because you haven't practiced like actually making your own lines because it's fixing all of them for you. And that is dangerous. And lines with character are so much more interesting. If you've ever seen like sorry, Mount Pepper. Maybe in the future if we get some topics, I don't know, in the trees, maybe I'll get some frogs to draw. Maybe I'll find an excuse to draw one. So yeah, just be careful scaling of the auto-correcting line stuff. It's too much. Hi Rainu. Hi John, just watched your video and hit home for me. Looking forward to reigniting this journey again. Thank you. Hell yeah. I hope that reigniting the journey for you goes well. I realized the other day, I was telling my wife that, and I think largely has to do with you guys and coming on stream. Since I started making the habit for drawing, I usually always miss a day, like here and there, that I always intended to draw. Because life happens. I gotta go take my dog out or run an errand or something. So I always missed days here and there. And believe it or not, I don't think I ever completed a whole week. I would always miss at least one day. you just tried for so long. And then I had periods where, I missed several days, like either through some life happening or just screwing up on the habit. But this past week was the first time that I did my habit all week without a miss. And I started this like 2 years ago. So for me, that feels kind of nuts. So it takes time. I'm kind to myself and everything. I feel like I've matured a lot in that respect, in terms of getting a healthy relationship with my art. So be super kind to yourself in the process. Like, it is going to take time, and it's okay. Originally, I was worried about getting to the next stage like as fast as possible, and now, like I said in my video, it's not about the speed. It's about getting there in the right way so that I will enjoy this stuff forever, and making a healthy relationship with your artwork, that's what counts. Having you do that. I love the music. It's chill. What are we listening to? Zev, I get my music through a site called Artlist. It's so I can have licensed music. Um, the artist on here is literally just called Mystic Flute. That's his name. So I don't know. I'm not sure if you search Mystic Flute, you'll find him, but that is what it's called. It's the artist's name. He only has 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. It's called Meditative World Flute. Just for curiosity, what time do you draw? In this case, stream. I've been drawing the past couple weeks from 8:30 to 10:30 Pacific. I'm trying to see if that's good for everybody. It's hard to choose a time. I might play around with some other ones if people, are telling me that they can't make it or something. So far, it seems like I'm getting a decent group. What time is it for you, Zev? It's good if anybody wants to let me know what time it is for them. It's good for me to know. I can kind of survey everybody who comes in here and see if this is a good time for them. I've had people, one guy in Sweden who said he was coming home from work every day, and this was like perfect timing. So that was great. It's just after 12 p.m. Okay, so it's afternoon for you, scaling. But I'm on YouTube passively all day. Oh gosh, I feel that. I do that stuff too. I'm on YouTube a lot. This is hard. A hard hand pose. It's gonna be diagonals. Maybe. A little better. Pose actually isn't looking bad either, so I like it. Not quite what I wanted, but it looks nice. Um, Gregory, been doing figures for the past 2.5 years. Welcome back, Gregory, by the way. Really only feel like I'm getting it now. Hands are still rough, though. Yeah, we all avoid hands. I think if you make a point to actually tackle them every time that you do a figure, so that you purposefully don't avoid them, which is what I'm doing to myself, you actually get better at them, you know? Especially when they're smaller figures, like there's less detail. So, you know, they're at least believable, even if they're not the greatest. What I should probably force myself to do soon is to start drawing toes. Because that's another challenge, right? 2, 3. I feel like I'm gonna draw too many toes. It seems silly to draw it, but you know, it is all helpful. Oh, I think I came out pretty darn good. I do say so myself. Excited about that. Uh, Here it's 11:10 a.m. It's a really good time for drawing. I love to draw in the morning. I could only do it on the weekends. I try to make time to go out with my wife on the weekends. She's a very much an outdoorsy person, so I'm not as much, but I do like getting out for for fresh air, for her and my dog and everything. They they both love it, and I end up enjoying myself too. It's a good time. You can see some pretty incredible stuff that inspires you too. All right, time to stop petting this guy. Uh, I never took a standing break, and I'm almost done. Oh, that's not good. Healthy creative process, guys. I try to stand uh, every hour for 10 minutes and like move around. You don't want to be stationary for too long. If I could, I get like one of those standing desks with the walking treadmill. Probably end up doing that. That way wouldn't have to take a break. Eventually, maybe we can do that. I'll do one more. Toes is a hard fight for me. Hips and toes. uh, yeah, hips are hard for me too. Pretty much, I get weaker as you go further down the body, because I've studied this stuff way more, and still, I struggle with it. So, part of this whole project that I'm doing is supposed to be helping me with learning the figure and getting to those parts of the figure that I haven't really tackled, which is most of it, to be honest. I have studied it, but it's just not to the degree that's needed and not from imagination. His hair, right, is so complicated. Hi, arrived late, creative as usual. Hi, Sod. That's okay. I'll be here Monday through Wednesday, and like I said, Thursday, um, I would do want to try to have like a break day with everybody, if possible. Play games or something. You guys play any video games? I feel like I missed some stuff. Hang on. Oh, I missed your first comments of YouTube fan over other platforms and Twitch for art streams. Yeah, I just chose YouTube for doing art streams out just because Twitch feels so saturated, and I like the searchability here on YouTube and everything. I like it better as a platform. Every other day I feel like I'm hearing terrible news from Twitch for creators, so I'm just like, I'm going to avoid that and just go here YouTube. Feels like a nice platform. D98, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I remember you from Ross Straw's videos. Sorry if I'm mistaken, huh? Nope, I was in his videos. We used to be really good friends. But that is all I'm going to say about that for now. We have not talked in many years. Walking treadmill is goals. That would probably annoy my partner. I think honestly, if we both could, my wife has a standing desk, so she could do it if she wanted to. She stands sometimes. I can imagine that would get annoying though, with the whole like zhoo 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 noise over and over again. So I don't know. Maybe it will annoy us. We'll have to, sell them if we get them like immediately. We'll find out, Greg. Nuzo. Hi, Nuzo. What's up? I played some Fallout. Kind of missed not playing Skyrim in a while. Have you seen some of the mods for Skyrim? They're crazy. It's basically a whole other game. I almost want to play. It almost makes me want to play again. All right. Active participant in the toxic community of League of Legends. Secretly enjoy New World from time to time. Never played League. Love the art. I just have never been into MOBAs. And I've heard the addiction is quite hard to kick, so I'm kind of glad that I'm not a part of it. I did play New World though. I had fun. I think the only thing that bothered me about New World was that it just reused assets way too much. There were like three types of enemies, period. And I saw the same ones over and over again. A lot of the mechanics were really cool and stuff though. I just wish I enjoyed it more. So I was a little sad about that. Don't be ashamed of playing League. A lot of people play League. It's all good. No one's gonna judge you. I think we're just about ready to jump into. We'll do one more pose. Out of curiosity, why'd you choose Psy over other programs, Tariq? Because my favorite artist uses Psy, Ray, and I've seen another one of my favorite artists, Arucelli or Night Zhang. She's on Twitch if you want to check her out. She has high opinions of Psy as well, and uh, the short of it is that I feel like Psy is a pure drawing painting program, especially painting, um, where that's all you focus on, whereas the other programs um, have so many tools that you can get lost in learning the tools than actually the painting process or the drawing process. And you can blend with pretty much one brush, paint and blend with one brush in here. So it's for pretty much improving my raw skills and getting, you know, past all of the tools that are supposed to help you in these other programs, but can potentially make you worse at this stuff, or just not as good as you would be if you were just focusing on that pure painting skill. So that's why I'm using it, and I'm really enjoying it. Honestly, it's great. Anyone's anatomy tutor will benefit from today's lesson. I hope so. These are all from imagination, so I the first two you can honestly see the improvement, like where how it was rusty. Like these two look a little unrefined. It gets a little bit better here, and then this one's a lot better. Looks a lot better. So you see, drawing for imagination, sometimes you gotta get out of your own head, and eventually it starts to come to you. Just sitting with that and doing some shitty drawings for a while. You gotta get there. All right. Zev, it's really saturated Twitch. I mean, for the video games, yeah, it is. Playing Baldur's Gate. Oh my god, I love Baldur's Gate 3. It's so good. I'm playing it too. I'm only in Act 1 and probably still very much at the beginning because I'm taking my sweet, sweet time. Um, it is so, so good. I love Baldur's Gate. I could totally play that on stream if people wanted, but yeah, that's a hell of a good time. And yeah, I'm the same. I don't play a lot because I need to use my free time, but I really want to play Baldur's. Thursdays are usually my like off day. Um, I've been writing, trying to write uh, a book. So on Thursdays, I take a day off of art. I write, and I play if I have the time. Sometimes I have too much work and I can't do that. All right, guys, we need one more pose. Hang on, and I'll answer your questions. Maybe we'll do one from above, like just straight above, like as if he's lying. No, you know what? I'm gonna do a lying down pose. See, Western music again. I told you the Magical Flute playlist has 5 songs. It's going to be more challenging, so bear with me through this one. I'm on Act 1 too. It's going to be a long ride. I enjoy every second. I love doing all the unnecessary secondary missions. Oh, yeah. I love all. I love it all. The unnecessary missions. I'm like trying to figure out how to do every little thing. I don't want to miss a single thing. But at the same time, I'm like already figuring out what my second playthrough will be like, you know? Asterian's great. I love him. Oops. Um, such rich characters. It's just such a good game, great designs, lots of freedom. They really hit it out of the park. Okay, I'm gonna be a little challenging. Okay, go back up. I'm a cinematographer and artist, M. Tanella. Currently unemployed. What should I do? Have you been employed with those skills before? Um, being a cinematographer and artist? I'm a freelance artist right now, and I've been looking for a job for like extra work for so freaking long now. Um, I still thankfully get work from my freelance stuff, but um, I was looking for a full-time role to stop relying on them so much because sometimes they scare me and they don't give me stuff, and it's tough out there to get a job right now. That but other than looking for a job, I'm not sure. You know, I'm sorry. Nuzo, yeah, only 2 hours of gameplay lifespan after installing 50 to 100 mods on Skyrim. Good times. Yeah, that can be true. Scaling, it's so much better now. They redid almost the entire storyline and some good voice acting. Pretty cool. I love League, but I'm still ashamed addiction is real. I loved the. I pretty much love all their trailers, but I love the show that they made. What's that called? Arcane, I think. It was gorgeous. It made me fall in love with League so much. I still don't, still not gonna play, but man, it was very tempting after that show, I'm not gonna lie. I know it's not gonna be anywhere near the same thing, but oof, that was, I'm sure that made it even harder as a fan to like stay away from League. Oh, thank you for answering Tanella scaling. Build a portfolio network, improve skill set, learn to sell yourself. Yeah, those are all really good things. And learning to sell yourself is definitely overlooked. You have to be your own kind of marketing team, and that learning how to do the business of what you do versus the art of what you do is a totally separate skill set. So, and everybody seems to confuse that. Like you're a good artist, you will just automatically kind of be shoved into the ranks of you'll find work or whatever. And just nope, that's not how it works, unfortunately. It's weird. The other leg this way. It's a little bit. Like a ridiculous pose, but we're gonna go with it. Can you explain what you do when you draw? I like there to be a flow of new information, especially since we watch you while you are silent. Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna be silent. I need to concentrate, unfortunately. Um, you know, I'm in the learning process too, so there's a lot of times where I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of just going with the flow. Um, I'm kind of just coming up with, you know, a cool pose if I can. Um, Trying to deal with, like, I know what some of these shapes look like, and because I'm, you know, turning them in space and everything, I'm trying to figure out what they would look like from different angles. And that can be really difficult. That is part of the trouble of drawing from imagination. But when you get good at that, you know, because you can move a square in perspective and then have it start to tilt away from you, like it's moving. I'm doing this just down here in my head, and now you're dealing with more complicated shapes like the chest muscles and everything like that, and how those might look from different perspectives, especially at extreme angles. It's the most difficult. Move Pigeon, loved your art video. You're turning 35 too. Happy to see you streaming. Thanks. Well, happy early birthday. For the end of the year, if I don't catch you on your birthday. And I wish you luck in creating awesome things. I hope you're able to create a nice, healthy process for yourself. Devastator. Oh, Arcane's a masterpiece. Yeah, it really is. Commissioned a known artist over a year ago and never got back to me. Took my money and ran. Those experiences deter me from hiring others when they're known. Oh, I'm sorry, Devastator. That stinks. Yeah. Honestly, if somebody did that, I would do my due diligence to try to contact them. But if they're not responding, they haven't done anything to, like, because sometimes people, life happens to people, you know. People get their phone stolen or whatever. But if it's been a long while, I would definitely call them out in some kind of, like, what else are you supposed to do? Not not dox them or anything, so that's shitty too, but you don't want to stoop to their level, but at least say, like, hey, like, has anybody had this problem before with this person? Because I'm not getting it. Maybe someone can tell you, get you some more information. Maybe he's a known stealer. And you just didn't, unfortunately, know. Or maybe somebody knows him and can tell you, him or her, can tell you, oh, hey, he's in the hospital. Sorry. You know? Ikenna, draw what? I don't... You want to be more specific, Ikenna? Maybe you were commenting on something I talked about before. Beyond, hello, Madrasa figures now as well. Awesome. Yeah, I want to say who it is sub-dad, but I'm going to contact him one last time, and if no result, I'll start making noise. Yeah, you should definitely do that. And Devastator, just, again, always try to be respectful, because you just don't know what's going on. He could be a totally shitty person, but you just don't know. So even when you make a public noise, do it at least somewhat respectively at first. Like, has anybody had this issue with this artist, kind of thing? Because they took my money and ran, essentially. Theon, I have heard of Lightbox Expo. I went to the first one, actually, and it was fantastic. I used to live in the area. I'm going to be moving back to Pasadena, actually. But yeah, Lightbox Expo is great. Bobby made an incredible thing happen for everybody, because it was kind of to replace this other convention called CTN, I believe, because there were people who were stealing artwork at the convention, like known theft, who were just at the convention selling another person's work. And the convention staff didn't do anything about it. So everybody started to, I don't know if they're still doing it, but people started to boycott the convention, and Bobby basically saw the opportunity and made a better convention, essentially. And so we're lucky to have that now. But yeah, it seems like a lot of cool stuff is happening this year. TB Choi will be there. Carla. I don't know if they're actually there. They're doing like virtual events. But yeah, it was a good time, good event. I'm sure it's a lot bigger now than when I first went several years ago. But it was a lot of fun. If we're being honest with ourselves, a lot of artists probably have ADHD qualities lead to things getting lost in the mess of life. Yeah, scaling. I agree. You never know if they're having personal problems. Yeah, sometimes it's not an excuse to either. Like, I won't say who the artist is, but it was pretty. You might know. I don't actually know, but it was a pretty well-known artist. He did a Kickstarter. And he kind of disappeared with the Kickstarter money for a while. And then I heard that he had like I think a tumor in his head. And what I guess is that he had to go away for a while for that, and he probably used some of the money for that as well. And it's just like it sucked for the backers, but also like the dude's gotta have life-saving surgery at the same time. I think what pissed people off in this particular situation is that he started selling the book on Amazon before it had gotten to all of his backers, and so people were upset about that, rightfully so. But like, he was dealing with some life shit, so you know, it's a lot of work to do lots of commissions, get a book out and everything like that. So you just don't know. Everybody's got their own unique circumstances. So you gotta be careful how you act. You don't know. And some people are just shitty, so you gotta be careful of that too. Will you go this year? I'm flying to LA just for it this year. Not this year. I will be in town next year, and I'm sure I'll go. You know, hopefully, I would love to get to a point where I'm well known enough where I can contact Bobby Chu and just be like, hey, I'd love to do a panel on, you know, the healthy creative process and artist mental health. Because that would be really cool. But no, I'm not going to be going this year, unfortunately. Maybe next year. But I hope you have a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun when I went. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. There's going to be a ton of awesome artists there, lots of cool people. I'm sure you will have a blast. Have a safe flight, Fion. Love to go to Lightbox. There's a lot of amazing people gathering there. Yeah, I've actually heard of a couple people who showed their portfolio there and got hired for some animation work and stuff. So there's some legit job opportunities there too. If you have the skills and you bring a good portfolio, make a good impression. A lot of fun. Is that a chocolate boy in the sofa? Yeah, that's my baby boy. I didn't know you could see him. Oh, my cutie boy. Hi, Nunu. Are you a good boy? I gotta go say hi to him now, Antoon. You pointed him out. He's a sweet boy. Uh, let's see. Most of the time, the biggest issues in life are just incredible inability to effectively communicate. That should be a slogan somewhere. Scaling. Probably true for not just artists, but just a lot of different people. Um, the art style Tibet Joy is so sick. It's one of those where portions of characters are kind of like boxy, which looks so good. Yeah. TB Choi has like a she has a she has a mix of Eastern and Western approaches to her art. And I love the Eastern, which is a lot of how she builds her figures. Um, I don't I don't know if I'm there yet, but I feel like I have a very sorry, I'm fixing this. I just noticed something that was bothering me. Um I feel like I draw similarly to the style of like what TV Choi does because it's very um it's got that same or I have that same influence of like the Eastern anime styled art stuff. It's where you care more about shape than you do form. But Tia Choi has like a mixture of that because she's worked for. I don't know if she's worked for Disney or anything. I'm trying to remember. Used to know. I think I made Ichigo too chunky. Um, but yeah, so she cares a lot about shape than she does if the form turns. Think of like anime and Disney movies, right? With Disney movies, everything is super round. You got round cheeks that you could like squish. With anime, you still have roundness, and Disney still has shapes and stuff too, but they care more about shape. Anime cares more about shape. They will break forms sometimes just to make the shapes look interesting, right? So that's why TV Joy's work looks so freaking cool. Thank you, Zev. He is adorable. I like how she draws cool guns and tactical stuff. Seems like it's mostly dudes that draw those, but in this case, it's a girl, and the details are super realistic. Yeah, I don't think there's really a difference between girls and guys with, you know, drawing stuff like that. It's her style. It's the style, you know. Um, I can't personally say I know women who draw a lot of weapon type stuff, but I know that there are. Actually, Ray has done stuff for, what was that? Girls Frontline? And those were all, they had guns all up in those. She did a whole series on it. That was great. So Peter Wortman. I don't think I've ever heard of him. Peter Wortman. Oh yeah, okay. He has more of an anime influence, but still, I would argue he is more. Hmm, actually wouldn't say Western for him. Is he like, mostly looks like French or something? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. So it is more Western. TB Choi, I would argue, is a little bit more that Eastern approach. Akil, she did past tutorials. Yeah, I've done studies of a bunch of her stuff. It's great. She's been very helpful to study, and I have her books too, which you know. So I. What the hell happened? Why am I erasing? Oh. Somehow selected white. Uh, she did. I believe she still works for Riot, Akil. I think she still does. I want to say she worked for Disney and stuff too. Disney, Blizzard. Um, Oh no, she works for Blizzard right now. Excuse me. She used to work for Riot. Um, Epic Games, which is Riot. And Sony Pictures Animation. She might have done freelance for Disney. I want to say she worked for Disney, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, definitely Riot, definitely Blizzard. She's a senior concept artist with Blizzard right now. And definitely Sony Animation. Basil, how do you support yourself, bro? I'm struggling to death as part of being a full-time artist. Well, I'm not a full-time artist just yet. Um, I support myself by doing my full, well, day job, which is graphic designer, and I do that freelance, but the goal obviously is to do full-time art stuff like this, because that would be really cool and I could focus on it. But it takes a while to get there. It's not, I mean, if you're super young and you're in school, that makes things obviously a hell of a lot easier. But I am not that anymore. Those years are gone. So you have to find time in between your work. I'm lucky that I get to do remote work as a graphic designer, so I don't have to spend time traveling anywhere, getting stuck in an office. I can do this first part of my day. All right, Akil, have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, I'm about to wrap this up, guys. I'll answer the rest of the questions, but I think we did pretty good. What the hell is happening? Why does it keep doing that? Every time I click it, it just goes farther into a corner. That's funky. I'm not doing like anything. There it goes. Back to normal. Okay. The last pose was a little funky. That's a hard pose for me, but I feel like this one was the most successful. But we did them all from imagination, so that's awesome. Happy about that. Zev, Joe Madureira. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna look him up too. Oh wow. I have seen his work before. Okay, I know who this guy is. Battle Chasers, yeah. He's definitely very skilled. I don't know if it's particularly my taste, but he's got good stuff. Hi, Crazy Soul. Gambate. Thank you, Crazy Soul. I recently found a channel I can relate a lot to your situation because I'm not student anymore. I'm trying hard to become professional. We can do this. Yes, we absolutely can. I'm gonna hopefully show everybody that this dream is still alive. I've done a handful of these. We're moving on to full figured sketches and painting, or I am, and then I'll be streaming some of it, so that'll be cool. But this will be the last stream for the week, unless I may stream tomorrow, but it will be a relaxing one. We won't do any art. It's more like a break day for me on Thursdays. So if anything, we'd play a game, but I haven't started that yet, so I don't know if I'm gonna do it quite yet. I've also just been doing the art streams. I think I have to film stuff tomorrow, so we'll see. uh, I really appreciate everybody who came on. Zev, I don't think he's here anymore. But Jan Andreas, and of course Scaling. Y'all are super sweet. The donations, thank you so much. It really wasn't necessary. I hope I can make you guys proud. Thank you for watching, everybody. It's been fun. And I'll see you, if I don't see you tomorrow, I hopefully will see you guys Monday for a new stream. See you later, Zev. Have a good one. Bye, Fion. Bye, Scaling. Crazy. Devastator. Have a good day. Talk to y'all later. See you. I want to look at your Ichigo speed paint. See you soon. Bye, Fion. Have a great day. Thank you. You too, Scaling. Bye, guys. Check out the Ichigo speed paint. Bye, Zev. Eventually, I'll show all my bleach paintings and work. I'll put it in a big PDF for everybody. So.